I was arrested for a murder and I was released without charge and went to a pub in the night time, walking back with a girl from the pub. I thought I was invincible. My mate was in a pub, I was drunk, he was saying, come, I'll finger you, I'll drop you home. And I was like that, nah, nobody can't me. And then apparently one of my so-called mates phoned up the shooters and told them which way I was walking, and that's when I got shot 27 times.
What sort of criminal activity were you seeing growing up?
Criminality. The first person I seen ever get stabbed was my dad. My mum stabbed my dad in his chest, his shoulder and his arm. Do you know, I became violent because what I seen at home, learnt behaviour, so to speak.
Yeah, man.
Went from selling weed, selling crack, heroin at 13 years old on the street, carrying knives, carrying guns. I can say this because I've got a conviction for both. So it went from not so much violence to a lot of violence pretty quick.
At one stage, the area that I grew up in, I would have thought it was quite good. But then, as I got older into my early teens, I started to feel the impact of the area. We started to things changed. It was like a Rastafarian, our parents were Rastafarian, so there was a lot of culture within our households. Then, probably from the late 80s, that's when you started to see a lot of breakdowns within the family. So a lot of, like, by the time we was 5, our dad was gone, it was just our mum. And then things started to change because the culture was changing. It went from righteousness to gangster shit.
It's more black on black crime now. It wasn't black against whites when I was growing up. Obviously we had white brethren and mixed race brethren, but it's like black on black, do you know what I mean? Whereas we're quick to pick up, we're quick to come together and tell the white guy when he's calling our man a black man this and that, but we're willing to kill each other.
Easy as well.
Do you know what I mean? And a lot of my beef is with people that I went to school with. Some of them have stayed at their house and they've stayed at my house as a kid. I didn't really get pushed into it. I chose to do it because we're both big men and we both admit that we had choices. The first time I got arrested, I got caught in McDonald's with machete. The last time I was arrested, I got caught with McDonald's with 500 bullets. But I wanted to be the man by looking up to the next generation of my brethrens.
I took on the aspirations to become a gangster. I took very early, by the time I was 10, 11, I took on those aspirations. I seen 2 bad boy films, Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood, and yo, like I say all the time, like, yo, them people there, they was the first people I looked at and thought, yo, I want to be like him. I want to do everything that he does. So for me, I just started to take on that kind of perception, that kind of persona. Give me 2 years, I was involved, I was around those kind of people. So we was more like on a gangbanging thing, like even for myself then, it wasn't even really about money. It was about, yo, raising money to go so we can go and roll out. Raising money so we can buy dope, so we can buy guns to go and roll out. It was really, this was our religion. We used to live by these rules. We used to live like, this is how, everything these guys are saying within the music, like, yo, kill this, boss that, shell this, or do, like, I used to literally eat, sleep, and breathe them that way of life. So at that time, when I was in it, it was like, I actually believed it was the right thing to do. Started rolling with knives and that when I was 14, but 16, I think that was the first time I got shot after, when I was 16, and from there, I was just, it was guns. It wasn't even about knives, it was just guns. We're at a certain place in our childhood, then by the time we get to 12, 13, we start to take on certain aspirations, and then by the time we get to 16, it's like we're almost in the full swing of it. Yeah, I'd never forget the first time I got shot after. I was like 16, as I said, I was with my little brother, and we was standing up talking to 2 girls, 2 females, late in the night. And I would say I wasn't even in beef then. I wasn't an affiliated, I wasn't a known gang member at that time. But the area that I lived in was gang affiliated. So it was late in the night, we're chatting to girls, and I've turned around and there's two heads and all I can see is eyes hiding in the grass. And I said, yo, geezers. Everyone started running and there's shots just flying after us, sliding through fences, and the bullets are licking off the fences. Ping, ping, ping. Yeah, that was the first time. That first time I had nightmares after that.
I seen my best mate get murdered. In a bakery, we went to get ham and cheese on toast with tomato ketchup. Two of us went in the bakery, one of us come out. I was fortunate he wasn't, but we can't let his name die in vain. He didn't die in vain, so yeah, and obviously I got shot in it. I got shot. The first time I got shot, I was going towards, I'd just put down my machines and I was going to a girl's house, going to this food shop first. I was riding in the park and I seen a man jump from behind a tree, so I jumped off the bike and let it roll towards him, turned round, and he let off about 10 shots and he caught me underneath my foot. It come out my side of my leg. I got around 2 corners. And then the second time I got shot, I'd just been released that morning. I was arrested for a murder and I was released without charge and went to a pub in the night time, walking back with a girl from the pub. I thought I was invincible. My mate was in a pub, I was drunk, he was saying, come, I'll finger you, I'll drop you home. And I was like that, nah, nobody can't fuck with me. And then apparently one of my so-called mates phoned up the shooters and told them which way I was walking, and that's when I got shot 27 times. The girl got shot once in her chest and once in her hand. I threw her on the floor and I took all the shots. Someone put a gun near my head and let it off. I don't know if they didn't have the balls or if the power of the gun just made it backfire kind of, but the bullet just glanced off the side of my head. I got up and walked, and that's all I was worried about, off this cut here. Getting shot back then, it's just like occupational hazard. It's like we was going out to work and you could get shot, you could escape, you could shoot someone, you could end up in jail. It's one of them things. It's just a look of the draw whether you live or die back then. I've lost over 30 friends and family to murder, and over 70 people that have been murdered. It was all bullshit. Nobody deserves to die over drugs. No one deserves to die over women. No one deserves to die over money. No one shouldn't be killing each other over such stupid little things.
In a sense, you have to realise that's how it's going to go. If I'm a bad man and you're a bad man and we've both got this bad man mentality, when we have a disagreement, the first thing we're going to do is go to some bad man business. People are dying for their ego. People are literally getting killed and dying for their ego. Everybody wanted to be a bad man. So nobody weren't going to take certain things, take certain disrespects, or what even people believe to be disrespect. So
it's like if you ask 9 out of 10 people, these guys that have carried on this generation war, what did it start? They don't know.
Man don't know.
They don't know the person that first instigated it.
They don't know.
But they're willing to die for it. But they're not willing to live for the kids or the family and so on. I can't have that, and I can't see kids doing that. Even big men, I tell big men, you should be guiding these kids that are doing wrong to do righteous stuff. Because you know, when you go to jail and you're willing to kill and die for these people, they're not even looking after your family when you're in jail.
How many times were you both in and out of prison? Like, what was the longest time you had to do?
I received 3 sentences totaling 17 years, 10 months, and the longest time I was in there was 5.5 years. And these was like, people say sentences have gone higher. They haven't. They've gone higher, but now you only do half. When I done sentences, it was 2/3. So I was active in jail. I was up to no good at dealing with narcotics and things like that, paying for people to get done in and paying for screws to get buckets of shit and piss thrown over them because I didn't like them and things like that. I was selling phones in there. And jail, you know what? People say jail's easy. It might be easy when you stood up there on the landing with your boys, putting that false smile on, but when you go back to your cell, you're a sad old soul because you miss your mum, you miss your family. But like I tell these kids, you miss them when something's happening. It's like when you're willing to die for your boys and you get stabbed up for your boys, who's it you're crying for? You're not crying for your boys, you're crying for your mum. So you need to be thinking more about your mum when you're getting involved in bullshit.
Yo, I'm gonna keep it real, you know. Jail's easy when you're a bum. When you're a bum, you got no prospects, you got no ambition. Jail's easy, jail's cool because you're not doing nothing. There's no progress, you're not moving forward. You're just thinking about when to get out or getting out. There's like, so for me, like being okay with being in jail is you're a bum. You're thinking like a bum. You got a bummy mentality. Like, I'll be honest, I hated jail. I don't like it. I've never ever liked it. I hated every minute of it. In fact, when I was in jail, my only priority was getting the fuck out, was getting out of jail. I didn't care about nothing while I was in jail. I just want to go home. I'm doing everything I can to make sure I go home at the earliest date. That's how I experienced jail. I actually don't remember how many times I've been to jail exactly. I have to work it out, but it's round about 7. I've done like one long sentence, I'd say, and then the rest has been like take me off the road for a little bit, and then I get free. After release, give me 2 weeks, and I've totally forgot what that experience was like, and now I'm back into the swing of things, like it didn't happen. Prison is not about rehabilitation. I don't think it rehabilitates the average inmate. In fact, many inmates statistically go to jail and come out worse. I think the rehabilitation has to start with you as a person wanting to change, and then taking the steps to do that.
And what were the worst things you were seeing in there?
People getting stabbed.
Like it's just what you see on the
People getting
road.
hot water thrown over
Just what
them.
you see on the road, but maybe more.
Not so much guns.
Yeah. But it's
stabbings.
the same thing. The prison is a world inside the world. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Without women, then. But it's the same stuff happening, the same bad stuff happening. Do you know? It's just as bad as being on the street.
And who were the people you were sort of with in those jails? Were they mates? Were they just...
Was it mates? Was it mates? I don't think there was mates. A lot of them was associates, because a mate wouldn't allow you to go and ride and commit crime for them or willing to die for you. It's all associates. I was in jail with a lot of dangerous people, because when I went to jail, I always started off on Cat A. So I was with the murderers and the terrorists and things like that.
What a lot of youths need to understand, or a lot of people need to understand in general, anyone that's your friend is not going to be encouraging you to put yourself at risk in any way, shape or form. So if there's somebody that's encouraging you to do road or do stuff on the streets or this and that, they don't have your best interests at heart, so they can't be much of a friend.
Yeah, mine come in 2011, something happened. I'm not going to divulge what happened.
We were doing the same shit at the same time.
Family, and I thought to myself, I had to come out of this shit, because I was doing all this thing for friends and willing to risk my life, my freedom, my liberty, and it wasn't doing nothing for me. I had to start thinking about myself and my family, you know, and having your family come and travel up and down the country visiting you, it's not good when your mum's getting strip searched coming on visits and things like that. No, man. 2011, I left it all behind, and I've not looked back since. The only time I've looked back is to see how far I come. I don't look over my shoulder where I live, because I know that the big man upstairs has got me. Who else gets shot 27 times one occasion, gets shot once on 2 occasions, and stabbed 7 times and is still here to tell the tale? You know, so I know the big man's got me. I believe there's a higher power, do you know?
100. For me, I'll be honest, jail never changed me one bit. Jail never had no impact in me, me changing. I think, in fact, I don't think, I know, I became unhappy with my life and I wanted to start changing it. So I literally started to research. As I said, I went on a journey of learning. That journey of learning opened my mind. It gave me a greater awareness to what was happening around the world, what was happening with myself, and I literally learned through my experience how I became the way I was, and then from that I started to learn how I could change it, how I could be a new person, how I could bring a new. So for me, it was learning, having the desire to change, and then starting to learn. Like, if you really want to change your life, these are the things that you need to do. So for me, it was a journey of learning. The first 5 years was hell. It was hell. I had everybody turn against me. Everyone I grew up with turned against me. From my perspective, everyone that I grew up with turned against me. If I was a weakling, I would have just folded and folded and went back into and continued back into the lifestyle. I had to be I had to stay strong within myself, within my mind. I had to fight an internal battle, because at that time there was an internal battle going on in my head. Like, yo, I need to light up something. I need to hurt someone. So I can't have people talking shit about me. I can't have people thinking certain things about me. So there was a whole battle in my head for years where it's like, yo, I'm on a new path now. Now I'm trying to save my people. Real shit, I'm trying to save my people. It's bigger than just working with children and this and that. I'm literally trying to save my whole community. Like, it's a culture that's been pushed on us, fam. It's literally something that's been pushed on us, and we need to realize, well, as adults, we have realized now, but it's now we need to realize at more of a younger age to see that, yo, this is not how we're supposed to be living. This is not us. We've been trained to live like this.
Yeah, crime doesn't pay, does it? We don't profit off it. If I kill 10 of your people, you kill 20 of my people, no one's won that war, we're both lost.
When you're in those types of circles, you almost have to become that way to a degree. So I'd just rather not put myself in those type of circles so I don't have to act, or I don't get caught acting out of character, because it can still happen. That old me he hasn't gone away, he's still there. I've just got control of him. I've controlled the beast, and now the beast is helping me to move forward in progress.
When you're chatting to young people and you see them maybe going down the same path that you both did, what is the things that you tell them, and like what's the things that actually cut through?
I tell them you need to be thinking about the parents. I tell them about my own situation, what I went through when I was in jail, with what happened to family members and all that. That made me have to think about going back to that life. You know, I tell them, you go to jail, something happens to your mum. You can't go to funerals. Your mum goes in hospital, you can't go there. You know, you're willing to die for your friends. It's deeper than that. I tell them how the reality of what happened in my situation, and a lot of people start crying. Some of them will take something from it, some of them won't, but all of them will remember what they've been told.
Probably one of the most impactful conversations I've had with a young person, and this wasn't in a professional settings, was when I was dropping a kid home after school, picked him up after school because there's troubles going on, and like, I ain't gonna lie, this kid was kind of on it as well. He wasn't trying to back down from whatever was going on. He was kind of on it, and it was kind of just pissing me off that he's not seeing what's happening. I'm speaking to him about his parents, his mom, how she's already prepared herself to get the knock on the door to hear that he's either gone to jail for killing someone or he's been murdered. Now, I've literally said that to the kid, like, this is what your mom thinks right now. Don't you see and that didn't do nothing. I got to a stage where I got angry and I just flipped out and I says, listen, all right, it's safe. If you're really on this thing, I'll round up your brethrens, I'll go and round up them youths, you go all get your knives and I'll put you in the park and you do your thing and kill each other, because at least that way, your mums can get it over with, they can get on with their life, all your parents can go through the trauma and go through the grievances, and then they can, get on with their lives, because all of yous are now dead. I left him, dropped him off. 20 minutes, half an hour later, his mum messaged me, said, I don't know what you said to him, but thank you. I can't, and I don't even know what conversations he's had with his mum after that, but she said, thank you, I don't know what you said to me, and I was a bit worried at first because I flipped out on him, but he said, after that, the next day he phoned me, totally different tune, because then I faced him with the reality.
If you don't pay, you're going to suffer the consequences. Yeah. And I'm on about bad consequences, yeah? This geezer, mate, was found nailed to the floor. Nailed to the floor, right? Nailed. 4 nails through his hands.